Hello, my name is Zan and I work with the International Civil Liberties Monitoring Group. December 10, 2022, Human Rights Day, marks the 20th anniversary of the arrest of Mohamed Harkat under a security certificate and the start of the ordeal that has continuously undermined his fundamental rights. Mr. Harkat is a United Nations Convention refugee who has lived in Canada since 1995. He faces deportation to imprisonment, torture, and possibly death in Algeria, under a highly controversial regime of security certificates. The Supreme Court unanimously ruled it unconstitutional in 2007, but the government made minor changes to the regime that has allowed it to continue to this day, even though it still goes against fundamental principles of justice. Security certificate hearings take place in secret, which means neither he nor his lawyers have ever been allowed to confront or cross-examine his accusers. In 2002, Mr. Harkat was imprisoned in a maximum security jail for 43 months. He spent years under house arrest, was placed under some of the most severe bail conditions in Canadian history, and continues to face incredible limits on his freedom, including monitoring of all his electronic communications and his movements. All of this without ever having been charged with a crime. The original evidence against Mr. Harkat was destroyed by CSIS, Canada's domestic spy agency, and the allegations against him are based on the testimony of an informant who failed a lie detector test and was never cross-examined in court. Mr. Harkat and his wife Sophie Lamarche have also described how the conditions imposed on them and the harassment they have faced from the Canada Border Services Agency amounts to psychological torture. This is unacceptable. The government needs to abide by both Canadian law and Canada's international obligations under the UN Convention Against Torture, which outlaws deportation to torture under any circumstances, without exception. Courts in both the UK and Ireland have blocked deportations to Algeria because of the risk of torture, and media have reported troubling cases of human rights abuses of refugees and activists who have been deported back to Algeria. On October 26, 2017, Prime Minister Trudeau clearly stated, quote, "Nobody ever deserves to be tortured, and when a Canadian government is either complicit in that or was not active enough in preventing it, there needs to be responsibility taken," unquote. Today, the Canadian government has an opportunity to live up to those words by taking action to end Mr. Harkat's ordeal and avoid implicating Canada in his torture. Public Safety Minister Mendicino has the power to allow Mr. Harkat to stay in Canada, safe from fear and torture, with his wife and friends. To us, he is simply Mo, a loving and soft-spoken man who contributes to his community and is always ready to help those around him. 2 decades of fighting deportation to torture, 16 years of harassment, intrusive surveillance, arbitrary detention, solitary confinement, secret trials, PTSD. Enough is enough. Mo must be allowed to stay in Canada and finally live his life. Please take action today to urge Prime Minister Trudeau and Public Safety Minister Mendicino to immediately end deportation proceedings against Mr. Harkat. Go to iclmg.ca/stop-harkat-deportation to send a quick email and share this video and the action widely. The link is also in the description below. If you can, please donate towards Mo's legal defense at justiceforharkat.com. We would like to thank Bill Iwanek as well as all our members, patrons, and donors for their generous support. ICLMG is a Canadian coalition of 45 national civil society groups that came together after the adoption of the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2001 to protect civil liberties from the negative impact of the so-called War on Terror. To see more videos like this one and support our work of protecting civil liberties in general, please visit iclmg.ca/donate or patreon.com/iclmg and get rewards. Thank you.